Preseason is less than a month away, and ESPN has come out with their prediction of what the roster is going to be and where they rank the roster in each team's roster in the NFL. We're going to break that down, and I'm going to explain why they are way off and the Raiders are being overlooked. I have five players that are not expected to be the guy or the man in Las Vegas. But if these five players turn out to be what we think they are under Clint Kubiak, this is a whole nother team. So let's break it down. Let's get into it. Happy mucking fun day, everybody. So yeah, there's been reports also about Jackson Powers Johnson and Caleb Rogers, right? Caleb Rogers is showing up early, bright and early. There's a lot of people in the building when other guys are out on their boats, getting YouTube and TikTok clicks. Raiders are in the building grinding, right? And there's a lot of players that are showing that they want starting roles. And there's a lot of competitions, I believe, that are being overlooked. And one of the main ones is the right guard spot. Now, looking at ESPN's projection, we'll break that down in a minute. We'll get into that. But a lot of people are thinking JPJ is a lock for the right guard spot. But those same people thought he was a lock for the center spot the last 3 years, 2 years. Those same people thought he was a lock when he was playing left guard, right? And those same people believe JPJ is a lock for the right guard. But Caleb Rogers has something to say about that. The man is showing up bright and early in the morning. He's putting in the work. And there's a lot of people that are turning heads and looking at Caleb Rogers and, the grind. So we're going to go back. We're going to look at, if we have time, a little bit of film on what he did last year, a couple of JPJ clips, right? And see the difference and see why that if this offensive line, just one or two people hit are better than we were last year or the year before, this is a totally different team. Same with the wide receiver group, right? If just one or two wide receivers show up and do better than they did last year, right? Like a Jack Best, like a Dante Thornton, or my guy Cedric Jackson, right? If one of these guys show up and do their thing, this is a totally different team. Same with the quarterback situation. If one of these quarterbacks, whether it be Kirk Cousins, Aiden O'Connell, Fernando Mendoza, or Jacob Clark, right? If they show up and give us better play than we had last year, which is really not hard to do. I mean, if you look at 18 touchdowns to 17 interceptions last year, 2 games with 3 interceptions, it's really not hard to be better at the quarterback play than what we had last year, right? If you look at our offensive line, they were 32nd ranked in the NFL last year. They were 32nd in run. They were 32nd in run yards per attempt. They were 32nd in pretty much every category when it came to offense, right? Offensive line was bad. The running game was bad. The quarterback play was bad. And when you have bad quarterback play, you can't expect to get good wide receiver play, right? So we're going to break that down. We're going to look at some of that. But there are a lot of people talking about, and there have been some insiders that came out and said, Caleb Rogers is putting in that work. He's turning heads. They wrote an article about it. If you want to go check it out if you know who the insider is. But, guys that are in the building and other guys that have been in practices have also mentioned Caleb Rogers. I've been talking about Caleb Rogers since he was drafted. I thought he should have been, competing for that, or he should have been the guy when JPJ went down last year, or, instead of moving Meredith over and whatever they tried to do over there in that whole situation they had going on last year. But I believe Caleb Rogers is smart, right? He has football intelligence. He knows what his job is, and it wasn't great, right? I'm not saying he came out there and was all pro, but with the offensive line scheme and the way the rest of the players played, I thought for a rookie, not really getting to learn a whole lot, because obviously we know who the coach was. We know who the run game coordinator was. So when it came to the run game, everybody was lost. When it came to pass pro, everybody was lost, right? So shout out to everybody in the building. I see y'all creeping up in here. Sacktown Mike, Loose Cunt in the building. Bane 173, what's good, what's good? Golf Candy in the building, what's good, what's good? Oh shit, it's the Cousins is better than Montana guy. Yes, it is, bro. You know who I'm the same dude I was yesterday, the day before, and today. I stand on my shit. Sacktown Mike, sorry, I'm 12, but really interested in seeing whether you're 12. Oh, excuse my language. Clint Kubiak can turn this program around. I mean, I think we're all interested in seeing if Clint Kubiak can turn this team around. Some of us are higher on him than others, right? But we'll see. Golf Candy in the building. What's good? What's good? Shout out to everybody on X, Facebook, Kick, all of that. All of that. We appreciate you. But yeah, so back to what I was saying is Caleb Rogers has been turning a lot of heads, and we talked about the play that are the former wide receiver for the Las Vegas, or not for the Las Vegas Raiders, but for the Raiders, right? That went viral. Ryan Hogue, who said JPJ wouldn't play it down as the starter for the Las Vegas Raiders this season. And he gave us his reasons why. And there was one play where, he made a mistake. And we've heard a lot of people talk about, especially David Carr, on their podcast said the same thing about Kubiak. He's going to give you a chance. And that's it. You get one chance. If you can't do it, you're out. Somebody else is next. So was that the one chance? I don't feel like it, right? No pads on. It's a different scenario. It's a whole different kind of dog out there when you have pads on, right? The physicality can come out. The athleticism could come out more. And you don't see nothing from the offensive line, out there in booty shorts and a helmet, right? So I feel like it's going to be a whole nother scenario. Right, all welcome. No, I mean I'm a Seahawk fan. Oh, okay, because I thought you were 12 too for a minute. The way that came out, I was like 12. But give me your thoughts on, since you're a Seahawk fan, right? Give me your thoughts on Clint Kubiak and what he did for Seattle, because I know what he did for that offense and how he turned that around. Do you think he has the personnel groups to do the same with the Las Vegas Raiders? My guy says only meant since he ran off our OC. I want to see if he can get Vegas back on. I want to see that as well. I want to see that as well. When the Raiders are better, the whole league is better. Man, that's the greatest quote ever from a non-Raiders fan, right? See, other fans around the league recognize the Raiders, their greatness, their mystique, their character, their history, right? And how long it's been that we've, golly, just been at the bottom of the barrel. So I love hearing that. I can get Bane. Other teams' fans are welcome as well. Anytime, man. Anytime. We like football talk. So if you come to talk football, we're all about it. But again, Mr. Bane, give all right, wait, Brainy? I don't know. Brian, I don't know. But give us your thoughts. Let me know what you feel Kubiak could do with this, with Brock Bowers, with the Ashton Genty, with the speed of Trey Tucker and Jalen Naylor, and now you add a Malik Benson, right? It's gonna be a problem, man. It's gonna be a problem. Is there an ant crawling on my damn computer? Rosetown in the building. What it do? He's clearly an offensive-minded coach that doesn't mean he can't spell out expectations for his defense and his new coordinator. But he's been a good coach everywhere he has gone. I agree 100%. And what he did for, Seattle's offensive line going in the 28th they were ranked down to 18th to change that running game, right? If you look at Kenneth Walker the year before, I do believe he had less than 600 yards. I want to say the year before that he had around 600 yards. So what he did for Kenneth Walker, Raider Nation is all hoping he can do the same thing for Ashton Genty and Mike Washington. Mark Raider was good. Was good. Appreciate you. Mendoza will start week 1. Okay, here we go. I'm look. Whatever they feel is best. That's that's my thing. I'm Gumby this year. My name is Gumby, right? I'm a lean with it, lean back with it. I'm a rock with it, right? Whatever they think is best. I'm just a content creator, so I'm gonna give my opinion. But yeah, man, if they feel Mendoza's ready week 1, then more power to him, right? More power to him. But I do want to say I don't have my phone. Why did I leave my phone? Damn it. Hold on. I can look that up on here. Give me a second. I think it's connected the same. Yeah, so I do want to say this. Since you brought that up, and then I'll get back to the topic at hand. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. So here we go. I just want to pull this up, right? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So, since 2010, quarterbacks drafted number 1 overall. How many games they played, where they started, and their record, their rookie season, right? So let's break it down. Let's break it down. I was going to do this yesterday, but I was not on yesterday. So it's a good thing we can do it now, right? Let's do it now. I like it now. Let's go with share. So I don't know what I'm sharing because I can't see the screen. Perfect. Perfect. That's perfect. All right, man. So here are the first overall quarterbacks drafted since 2010. What week they started of their rookie season and their rookie record, right? So let's just start off the top. Sam Bradford. Did he start day 1? Check mark. Yes. Record 7-9. Not bad for a rookie, right? Not bad for a rookie. What happened to his career afterwards? Well, I mean, that is probably from starting day 1, I would say, right? Cam Newton. 6-10. Yes, he started day 1. Andrew Luck, the only one out of this whole entire bunch, started day 1, went 11-5. But if you look at where he was drafted, the team that was left behind by the previous quarterback, I mean, you might have to question a little bit, right? A little bit. I don't think there's been a quarterback drafted number 1 overall that has went to a more. You got Marvin Harrison over there. You're throwing the ball to. You have Jonathan. Or wait, who was the running back? Was it Jonathan Taylor? I don't know. Somebody let me know who the running back was over there for Andrew Luck. But anyways, Andrew Luck, yes, started day 1, 11-5. Jameis Winston, the Jameis Winston, right? Yes, started day 1, went 6-10. Now, those are good numbers, right? 6 wins, 7 wins. I'm sure a lot of Raider Nation would be happy with that. But what if it's Jared Goff, right? Jared Goff. Did he start in his debut? No. He started week 11. Went 0-7. The man sat for 10 weeks. 10 weeks. And then came in like everybody thinks Mendoza's going to come in later in the season and just hit the ground running, right? Take us to the promised land. Well, Jared Goff, who has been comped a little bit to a Fernando Mendoza, started a week 11, went 0-7. Baker Mayfield, did he start week 1? Oh, no. He started week 3. Ended the season at 6-7. Not a bad record, considering the team that he was drafted to, right? Very good. Kyler Murray, yes, started week 1, day 1, was 5-10-1. With, wasn't it Cliff Kingsbury, an offensive-minded head coach that everybody thought was the next guru in the NFL, right? A lot of people had Cliff Kingsbury as that guy that they have a Ben Johnson, that they have a Clint Kubiak labeled as, right? Come in, did good things early, took them to a playoff, and then yeah, disappeared. Joe Burrow. Did the great Joe Burrow start day one? Yes, he did. But do y'all remember how the season went? Are you old enough to know how the season went? Let me know in the comments below. He started day one. He went 2-7-1. The great Joe Burrow. Now, also let me know in the comments to the 13 people in the building. Do you feel like Fernando Mendoza had a better college season than Joe Burrow? Do you think he's a better quarterback than Joe Burrow coming out of college? Let me know that as well. Joe Burrow, 7-2-1, injured after 10 starts, missed the rest of the season. Whoo, that's dangerous. That's dangerous. That's got to put a little questions in the mind of Raider Nation, right? Trevor to the Lawrence. Did he start day one? Yes. Went 13-4. I don't feel like the Raiders can afford to go 13-4. Not saying that Mendoza's Trevor Lawrence. However, they have a lot of similarities. Size, arm strength, mobility. I mean, I don't know. A lot of similarities, right? Maybe not as intelligent as Mendoza, but let me know in your comments how you feel about that, right? 13-4. Bryce Young started day one. Day one. 2-15. 2-15. Drafted first overall. And then the great Caleb Williams. Did he start day one, 2024? Yes, he did. 5-12. Now, I see that there was about 20 people in here, and now it's down to 4. So I guess we just don't like realism. I guess we just don't like people being honest. I don't know. Or maybe just don't like content. I don't know. Out of 11 quarterbacks drafted since 2010, 9 of the 11 started week one of their rookie season. Only Jared Goff, as we talked about, and Baker Mayfield began the season as backups. Andrew Luck, 11-5, finished his rookie season with a winning record. The combination of rookie starting records over these number one overall picks is 53-102-2, illustrating how difficult it is for a rookie quarterbacks, even elite prospects. I'll repeat how difficult that is for rookie quarterbacks, even elite prospects, to immediately turn around a struggling franchise. Now, we have a prospect. I don't know how elite he is. That remains to be seen. But we definitely have a struggling franchise, right? Absolutely. Now, this comparison is useful to evaluate how a rookie like Fernando Mendoza might fare with the Raiders, because history shows that even top overall picks rarely post winning records in the NFL. Now, with that being said, let me know how y'all feel about that. Because that's a good list, right? Sam Bradford, Cam Newton, Andrew Luck, Jameson Winston, Goff, Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow was the one that caught me. Let me know out of that list, if you were watching, which quarterback's record did you not know and caught you off guard? Was it Joe Burrow being 2-7-1 and being injured the rest of the season after 10 games? Was it Trevor Lawrence being 3-14? Or was it Andrew Luck being 11-5? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know. Now, let's get into a little something else. What else do you think we're going to get into? Y'all want to guess? Is anybody guessing? It's supposed to be Brian E. YouTube don't let me fix my hand. All right. I see that, Brian. Camera changed the Twitch vertical cam. What the hell just happened? Who changed my camera? What the fuck just happened, bro? Hold on. I think I've been hacked. What the shit? What the hell just happened? I don't even have Twitch. But if I had Twitch, that would be the vertical camera. Apparently. Dude, I don't know what just happened. My whole shit froze. So my guy's name is Brian, Sacktown, Rosetown in the building. Oh my God, yes. Last half of the season, the run game took off, made Sam Darnold a legit quarterback. That's what we're talking about, right? That's what we've been preaching over here. We try to preach that truth talk. You have to have a run game for your quarterback to be successful. And speaking of successful quarterbacks with a run game, Aiden O'Connell, 7-1, should be 8-0 when the Raiders rush for 100 yards with him at the helm at quarterback. Now, I looked at Kirk Cousins' stats, and I don't see no 8-0 or 7-1 when any team had a rushing game. However, he does throw for almost 4,000 yards at 38 years old, coming off a second year removed Achilles. We will see. Brian here, I thought you were 12-7. Sacktown Mike, that might get you in trouble, bro. That might get you in trouble. And I might take that off the screen because that might get me in trouble. Okay, that's enough of that. Damn. No, wait, a couple months ago, before YouTube will let me change my name. Yeah, once you change it, it's like 14 days before you can change it back, or something is crazy. I think it's crazy. Golf was with Jeff Fisher. Aiden O'Connell's is Josh McDaniels. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I get it. Golf was with Fisher. That does make a difference. And that 0-7 probably helps. But according to most of Raider Nation, when it comes to quarterbacks, right, it don't matter how good your offensive line is or how good your running game is or how good the coaching is. You as a quarterback should be able to go out there and win games by yourself. I mean, that's the take in here. But we'll see. I don't know. Right, Brian leads to some funny conversation. It's good to have some funny conversation in here. Oh yeah, it already has. It got Rebel to say, excuse my language. Yes, right. I did say excuse my language because when there's children in the building, you gotta be polite. I was raised with some kind of manners. I try to keep my language, to a T, but then I try to be authentic, and I can't really be completely authentic because every other word would be the F word. So now I'm being authentically telling you that I'm not authentic 100% because I do have to control my language, and it's rough. It's very rough. Brock Purdy played his rookie year as a 7th round starter. What was his record? I don't have my phone, but I could find that out. Actually, I could have just went back to the website I was on. Nope. I know it was pretty good, I do believe. La 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 la. Brock Purdy had 107 quarterback rating with 1,374 yards, 13 touchdowns, 4 interceptions in 9 games as a rookie. Man, what a difference. What a difference a coach makes. What a difference a good team makes. What a difference. What a difference. Oh, what's happening here? My desktop browser is totally different. group people in the chat, right? I don't know. The Vinny T's, what's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? We have a Raider chatter who goes by the name Blue Richards. What? We all thought he was a man and had sex. Turns out her. Oh yes, yes, Blue. That's funny. See what happens when you get on a chat, right? And you don't get to see people's faces and put two and two together. It's crazy. How we doing tonight, my dude? I'm doing good, man. How you doing, my brother? So, bots, I gotta read everybody's name before I say them out loud because some people just get me in trouble. Maybe that's why my stream was took down. I don't know, but I don't know. Why guys are going to need a run game with our receiving core? You guys are going to need a run game with your receiving core. Yeah, I think that's pretty much a given. Like you can't run the ball if you can't pass the ball. And Kubiak's system relies on a whole lot of play action, right? A whole lot of motion in the backfield. You got to get, you know, even your star receiver out there blocking and being that lead blocker. But I think a lot of those lead blockers, say that 5 times fast, will be guys like Jack Besh, Michael Mayer, Brock Bowers, right? Coming across, opening up those wide zones and getting cutback lanes for the play, and opening up the play action. Because I do believe Kubiak runs a lot of naked boots, right? He also runs, regular play action. So, yeah, a lot of movement, and play action doesn't work if you don't have a run game, and it sure the hell doesn't work if you don't have receivers who can catch the ball or get open, right? Those guys have to get open, and they have to get open fast. And they have to keep moving. You can't have guys. Well, I mean, you can have guys because the Kansas City Chiefs had a guy like Travis Kelce that would, run 10 yards and just stop sometimes and wait till Patrick Mahomes was done running around in circles. And then he just find, Kelce 10, 15 yards up the field just standing there. So sometimes that can't work. But yes, you got to have a good receiving core. And we're going to get to that in a minute. I believe, like I said, overlooked. This team is being overlooked completely. I feel like Kubiak coming in changes the offense, makes the receivers better from day one. I know that Rick Dennison coming in makes this offensive line better from day one, right? The little birdie in my ear and the reports coming out of camp, from the guys. Who are all those guys? I don't know. I always forget all their names. But Jesse Merrick, Sam Warren, all those guys, Q, Levi Edwards, right? All these guys that are out there giving us reports, all kind of saying the same thing, right? There's some sleepers. But let's get into the next topic. All right, let's finish the first one, right? The biggest camp battle, I believe, is between JPJ and Caleb Rogers for that right guard position. But the one that's being overlooked the most is nobody's talking about anybody pushing Burford for that left side. And I feel like that is a huge, huge, huge problem, right? Because if nobody's pushing Burford for the left side and he's just taking that job, a lot of people think it's, the rookie that we drafted in the 3rd round and Trey Zoom. I just don't feel like that's the case. I think they're trying to get him to play a lot of positions. I feel like they want him to be that 6th man. And, I said this when he was drafted. I thought it was going to be Charles Grant. That was going to be that heir apparent to Colton Miller because, Colton Miller can't stay healthy the last couple of years. He's getting up there in age. And when those, big tackles like that, 6'8" guys start, getting injuries, and the older they get, those injuries don't heal well and they just come back and they linger, right? So I believe they're building for the future. And I thought Charles Grant was going to be that guy to take over. But now I really, I said it as soon as we drafted Trey Zoom, he's played a whole lot of left tackle. And his physicality, his size, I believe he can play that left tackle position. Some people say, his arms aren't long enough. But his physicality, his blocking, his footwork, his athleticism, I believe if he's trained by the right coaches, right, and developed right, that he can be that heir apparent to Colton Miller when he takes over. And maybe Charles Grant, maybe is going to be on the right side pushing DJ Glaze, because we all know DJ Glaze needs a push right now, right? He's been pretty much, and I don't want to say given the spot, but he just hasn't had guys to push him from behind. That didn't sound right. He hasn't had guys from behind him to push him for that spot, right? So I'm gonna pull up this roster here in a minute, but let's get to the ESPN thing. Let me save this, pin this, whatever I call it. ESPN, right? So where does ESPN have our Las Vegas Raiders ranked? Projected starters and where their roster ranks all 32 NFL teams. Let's pull it up first. Let's pull it up first. Bear with me, man. Bear with me. I'm going to pull it up. It's not working. All right, I got it. I think. No. Why is it not working? This is really upsetting me. Come on, man. What's going on? Just click on the damn tab. My computer is tripping, bro. What the hell just happened? All right. So welcome to to the mushroom show. I don't know what just happened, bro. That was pretty cool, though. You gotta admit, if you liked it, give me a thumbs up. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. I don't know what the hell just happened. I'm gonna try this one more time. My computer is freaking out, bro. All right, that's a lot better. I just don't like how I set up. So let me go back to this somewhere, somehow. Nope, not that way. Actually, I like that one. Let's change these. Okay. Yeah, sure. Kind of. I don't like that either. That's better. Can I control it? Can I control it? Yes, I can control it. All right. Can y'all see it? I don't like that either. Let's go back to this one. Hold on. Bear with me, yo. Bear with me. I'm trying to get this damn thing so you can see the whole thing. And I know you can't see it on the other view. So give me a minute. Well. All right. So, number 1, they have the Rams. That's obvious, right? Number 2, it is Philadelphia. I got to get off here because I'm going to change this. Better. Except I can't see it now. That's not better at all. Why did it change? All right, I'm not going to show this for a minute until I figure what the hell is going on. I get custom alignment. That's not showing the other side either. All right, I guess we'll go with this. That works. So Seattle's number 3. Number 4 is the Buffalo Bills roster. And my shit is lagging horribly. I don't know what just happened. And number 5 is the Baltimore Ravens, right? So you ask yourself, where are the Las Vegas Raiders in this mix, right? Well, they are all the way down here. Nope. Still. Goodness. Indianapolis Colts. Yeah, we're still going. New York Giants. Carolina Panthers. 24. Have a better roster than us. The New York Jets, 25, have a better roster than the Las Vegas Raiders. Let's look at this roster. Their quarterback consists of Geno Smith. Yes, the Geno Smith. Bryce Hall, Garrett Wilson, Adonai Mitchell, Omar Cooper Jr. I think that's going to be huge for them. Kenyon Sadiq, I think that's huge for them. Mason Taylor, Olofushani. Then I don't know why this shit won't go over more. All right. Yeah, so Olofushani, Dylan Parham. Dylan Parham? Y'all remember that name? Dylan Parham? Let me know in the comments below. Y'all remember Dylan Parham? So they got Dylan Parham. They got Josh Myers, Joe Tippmann, and Armand Membu. So out of this offensive line, I think Armand Membu, I don't know if he's better than Colton Miller right now. If Colton Miller is healthy in a full season, I would love to see what their numbers are. Right guard, Joe Pittman, yes, solid experience. But JPJ or Caleb Rogers? You have to question that. Center, Josh Myers to Tyler Linderbaum. Who has the better center? Let me know. Left guard, I already know what Dylan Parham is. But I really can't stand here and look y'all straight in the face and honestly say that I believe Burford is a lot better or even better than Dylan Parham, because I've seen Burford get put on ice skates just like I've seen Dylan Parham, right? Dylan Parham got pushed around way too much. He was light. He wasn't strong enough. Didn't have enough junk in the trunk. Now, Spencer Burford, a lot stronger, a little heavier, but not much, right? So I still think Burford is better than Dylan Parham. Olufushanu at left tackle, I believe Colton Miller still is better right now, more experience, but the injuries, not being healthy, you might have an argument there, right? And then Membu, better than DJ Glaze, yes. Better than Charles Grant, well, that remains to be seen, right? And then we get to the defensive side of the ball. You have edge, or not edge. You have defensive tackle, Devondre Sweat. You have Harrison Phillips, and you have David Inumata, right? Compared to, what do they have listed for us? Adam Butler, Thomas Booker, and I think Jonah Laulu. Now, Will McDonald over Max Crosby, or David Bailey over Max Crosby, Will McDonald over Kwity Paye, Crawford, right? I don't know. Linebackers, Demario Davis or Quay Walker, right? Jamin Sherwood or N'Kobe Dean. I don't know. Brendan Stevens, Deshaun Wright, D'Angelo Pons, Micah Fitzpatrick, Andre Sisco. Are the Raiders projected trading Stooks, Eric Stokes, Darian Porter, Teron Johnson, and Jeremy Chin? To me, taking the bias glasses off, our defensive backfield sounds better. Our linebackers sound better. I would take our edge rushers over there. Now, David Bailey could be him, but he's young and it's going to take a minute. I don't think he's better than Max right now. And I'd be surprised, I'll be surprised if he has over 10 sacks on that team. If he does, cool. But just look at some of these guys drafted over the last couple of years. And a lot of people thought, there was better defensive linemen in front of David Bailey. A couple of them, but we'll see how that works out for the Jets, right? So they got the Jets at 25. Who is 26? Damn, it's not even us. 26 is the New Orleans Saints. Tyler Shook, Travis Etienne Jr. Is he better than Ashton Genty? I don't know. Chris Olave, yes, I do believe he's better than Trey Tucker. Jordan Tyson, yes, I do believe he's better than I don't know. As a rookie, I don't know. That remains to be seen, right? Is he better than a 25-year-old vet in Jalen Naylor? I know he's going to stretch the field more. I know he's more athletic and younger, but as a rookie, I mean, look at Tedero McMillan that a lot of Raider fans thought the Raiders should have took 6th overall. He had 100 and almost 20 targets and caught 70 of them. That's 50 balls. 50 balls that he didn't come down with. I mean, that's a lot. Now, I don't know how many were drops or misses or batted down, but that's still a lot of targets to only come down with 70. So rookies, some struggle. I mean, look at the Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, a lot of people thought, even I thought, that was the best wide receiver in this draft. Him, Jalen Naylor, and then Dylan Labe with the hands. I felt best hands. Well, Brian Thomas Jr. hasn't done nothing, and he has struggled being picked where he was. So, we'll see. We'll see what these guys turn out to be, right? And then Juwan Johnson and Noah Fant over Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer. I think we got him there, right? Left tackle, Calvin Banks Jr., Colton Miller. I don't know what Calvin Banks did last year, but I think he played more than Colton Miller, so that might be a difference. David Edwards, right? Left guard. Better than Spencer Burford? That remains to be seen. Eric McCoy, I don't think is better. 6'4", 303. I don't think it's better than Tyler Linderbaum, but y'all let me know how y'all feel about it. Let's pull up 2 windows, right? And then Cesar Ruiz at right guard. Cesar Ruiz is 6'4", 316 out of Michigan. How many years? Drafted in the first round in 2020. So we'll see what the Jets get out of him, but that's a first-round pick. Where was David Edwards drafted? David Edwards was drafted 5th-round pick. So they got a 5th-round pick in 2019. Got a little bit of experience for them, right? Talisi Fuaga, we know where he was drafted. 6'6", 324. A lot of players in the Raider Nation wanted Fuaga 2 years ago. First-round pick number 14. We could have had him. Could have been our guy, but we would have had to give up Brock Bowers. Now, let me know in the comments. Has Fuaga done enough for y'all to say we should have got Fuaga over Brock Bowers? Let me know in the comments below. But he is definitely, in my opinion, better than DJ Glaze. And he is better than Charles Grant right now. Now, Charles Grant in a Rico system, right, may develop into a better player. We might have, and not might, but I do believe we have a better O-line coach than what they have over there in New York, right? Then defensive-wise, they have a whole bunch of, first and second round picks, but they got Brian Brees, Nathan Shepard, Christian Miller, Chase Young, Carl Granderson, Caden Ellis at linebacker, Pete Warner, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Jonas Sanker, Justin Reed, Julian Blackman, and Martin Emerson at corner. I really don't see any of those guys that are screaming this is better than the roster we have. But let's get to it. The Raiders roster. Now this is their projection, right? Because we don't know who's playing, who's starting. I still feel with all my heart that Caleb Rogers, and people want to say don't use your heart, and I see y'all out there. I don't worry, I watch all. And if I don't, somebody else seen it. But yeah, so with my heart, it's Caleb Rogers at right guard. I really feel like he wins that job. So they have Kirk Cousins, Ashton Genty, Trey Tucker, Jalen Naylor, and Jack Besh. That could be remains to be seen, right? That remains to be seen as well, because there's a lot of talks about Malik Benson getting behind the defense, right? He started out with the threes, then he moved up with the twos, then he started getting some reps with Kirk Cousins in the ones, right? And now there's been a couple of talks, and the little birdie in my ear told me, watch out for Malik Benson. He's different. He's different, right? He can go from the slot. He can go from the outside. He's already been getting behind the defense and taking the top off. And I would not be surprised if, like I told you, watch out for Dante Thornton Jr.'s job if some of these guys turn out, and maybe even Beck this next year if he don't turn out. But this lineup, I mean, looking nice, bro. Kirk Cousins, Ashton Genty, Trey Tucker with his speed, Jalen Naylor, and I'm going to get to some facts in a minute. Jack Besh, Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer. Then the offensive line, Colton Miller, if he's healthy. They have Jordan Meredith. Maybe ESPN knows something that Rebel knows that y'all don't know, that I've been trying to tell you. If Jordan Meredith is not a starter on this team, it's a fail. It's a fail for me, whether it's right guard or left guard. But he is not a center. He is not a center. He's never played center. He played okay last year, but there's no reason he should be the backup center when we have JPJ on our team. JPJ is a way better center with one hand probably behind his back and his eyes closed, than Jordan Meredith, just because of the experience, right? When you do something over and over again, you can close your eyes and do it, right? I know guys that can hit golf balls farther than I can with their eyes closed because they golf 3 days a week, right? They don't have to work. They can go out there and just, kick it on the golf course. And then when I go play, I'm like, man, this ain't even fair, bro. This ain't even fair. I get to play once every couple months, and then maybe a little bit of top golf in between. So when you have experience and you've done something over and over and over again, sometimes you can, do it with your eyes closed, or, so they say. That's just a, figure of speech. But I believe JPJ is a better center than Jordan Meredith. But I also believe cold-heartedly that Jordan Meredith is a better right guard right now than JPJ and Caleb Rogers, right? JPJ's never been rated a top 5 guard in all of the NFL in pass blocking and run blocking, right? Not even close. Wasn't even up there. He's been not even enough to be in the top starters, right? So same with Caleb Rogers, only 7 games in. Jordan Meredith is that guy. Now, if they put him at right or left, I don't know. But I'm hoping that when the pads come on, that all this first, second, and third team was just a whole bunch of hoopla, right? And they start moving guys around, because if there's not somebody to push Spencer Burford, if there's not somebody to push DJ Glaze on the right tackle spot, this team is in trouble. We cannot go starting the season. This is just my opinion and my take. Cannot start the season with a Colton Miller that you don't know if he's going to stay healthy through the whole entire season. With Spencer Burford, yes, he's played on a good team, but he didn't, there was somebody else constantly taking his spot, right? It's constantly taking his spot. If he was that guy, he would have been that guy. So are the guys we have better than Spencer Burford? That remains to be seen when the pads come on. But I believe Trey Zune is better. I think JPJ can play left guard just fine, right? And probably better than Spencer Burford, just my opinion. And I believe Caleb Rogers the same way. He played a little bit in practice last year and preseason, so he's a guy that also played tackle most of his career at Texas Tech, right? So Caleb Rogers is a guy that you also have, just in case something happens or emergency break glass that you can throw out there, right? You can throw out there in an emergency situation. So Jordan Meredith, the left guard, I thought was very interesting from ESPN. And then they have Tyler Linderbaum, Jackson Powers Johnson, and DJ Glaze, right? But is DJ Glaze going to be that guy, or is there, like I keep saying, somebody to push him? Do they move Charles Grant now over to the right side because they went and drafted Trey Zoon? And Trey Zoon, little bit of center, can play left guard. I mean, possibly, right? I'm sure he can. They got him playing right. They got him playing left. They got him playing tackle. But where he has the most snaps is the left tackle position. And I feel like they have to be worried about Colton Miller's, conditioning, making it through the whole season, just like I am. And I'm sure like a lot of you are, right? There's a lot of people in Raider Nation that didn't want him didn't want us to re-sign Colton Miller. They wanted to go out and draft a future left tackle because, of his age and his injuries the last couple of years. So that all remains to be seen. But this offensive line is solid. And then the most solid thing is if JPJ wins that spot, you got Caleb Rogers behind him, right? If Tyler Linderbaum is winning that spot. But if Burford wins that spot, then you have Jordan Meredith as a backup with Caleb Rogers, two guards that can play center, both guard positions. And then you have a guy like Caleb Rogers that could play both guard positions and a tackle position. And then you have your seventh, that sixth or seventh man, whoever that is, in Trey Zoon, that I believe is the future left tackle, if not the future left tackle, more than likely the future center. And I think they're going to give him in the offseason probably as much as work, and probably when pads come on, as much work as possible at all positions, because they keep saying he can play all positions, but his body of work hasn't showed that he can. So they're more than likely going to throw him out there. Defensive wise, man, they have Adam Butler, Jonah Lalu, and Thomas Booker. Like I said, that was a hell of a guess. Max Crosby, Kwity Paye, Nakobe Dean, Quay Walker, Eric Stokes, Darian Porter, Teron Johnson, Jeremy Chin, and Traden Stoops. That looks like a solid ass defense to me. I mean, there's question marks, right? And where are those question marks? Well, let's break it down. The number one question mark is the edge, Max Crosby. Can he stay healthy? How is that knee, right? Is that knee like glass? Is that knee ready to go like he says, right? It was good enough last year that he played injured and made it through the whole entire season, except for the last two games when they benched him. We know Crosby's a warrior, and he's not going to say he's hurt. He's not going to show he's hurt. And sometimes that hurts the Raiders, right? Because if he's not 100%, sometimes it's just not good for us. But Adam Butler, back injuries last year, when he gets to the lower back, right? When you start getting to those lower back injuries, it's a problem. And the older you get, it's a problem. And the bigger and the heavier you are, it's a problem, right? So Adam Butler's got questions. Jonah Lalu, hasn't been that 3-down guy yet for us. He's been a guy that's showed some flashes. He's made some plays, very high on my list. Vegas hometown guy, right? We did a whole video about the imposter syndrome, where he always thinks that, when people are complimenting him and telling him how good he is, he thinks that they're lying to him, right? So, he's overcoming that. He's dealing with those. But Jonah Lalu, when he finds himself and he figures out that he could be that 3-down guy, I believe is going to be a problem. And then you have Thomas Booker, who has arms the size of tree trunks, right? Another very, very strong physical guy. But can he get to the quarterback? Because we know he can stop the run, right? Can he get pressure on the quarterback? That's another question. Kwity Paye, right? Tomorrow we're going to break down, and I know I'm a little bit late because everybody's already broke it down, but ESPN also graded the offseason, right? And where everybody is and they had us at the very bottom, right? I'm sure y'all seen it already. They gave us a C, but we're gonna break that down. Why? That's just absolutely disrespect. And the biggest problem I had with the grade from the ESPN reporter, and I don't know who it is. I don't have it in front of me, and I don't have my phone. Um, but the biggest problem I had with the grade from the ESPN reporter is he say Kwity Paye was the lowest grade in the offseason, one of his worst, the Raiders' worst acquisitions. But he went on to say there were guys at his position at edge that got more money for less production. Let me repeat that. He went on to say this was the worst offseason acquisition for the Raiders. However, there were guys that had less production at the edge position that got paid bigger contracts. How is that a fail for the Las Vegas Raiders? Please explain to me how that's a fail for the Las Vegas Raiders. If you get a guy that had better production than guys that got more money elsewhere, to me that's a win. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments, but somebody explain to me how getting a guy like Kwity Paye with more production than a lot of edge rushers in the NFL got more money. Now, that tells me two things. He wants to be a Raider. He sees what's going on in this organization and the guys in the building, and somebody probably said, hey, Rob Leonard's going to be our defensive coach. You might want to come over here because this is going to be fun and you're going to eat, right? And I'm sure I know who those phone calls were from, but Kwity Paye, man, I find that hilarious that these ESPN, guys getting paid all this money over there that want to come and be like, oh, this is the worst acquisition for the Raiders in the offseason. But he had better numbers than a lot of guys that got more money. Nakobe Dean is a big question mark for me. He's not out there. He hasn't been out there. He's been in the building. He's been working out. Is it a hamstring? Is it a knee injury? I don't know what the injury was last year because I don't have my phone in front of me. And I got 4 screens open, and I really don't want to lose the position I'm at. So I really don't know what the injury was. If somebody in the chat knows, let me know so I can talk about it. I can't remember what Nakobe Dean's injury was last year, but I want to say it was a knee. But don't quote me on that because I don't know if that's 100% correct. But the problem with Nakobe Dean is we got rid of a guy. We got rid of a guy in Divine Diablo that had a problem tackling. He was fast. He was strong. He was physical. He was a former safety that was too big to play safety, moved to a linebacker. But the problem was he couldn't tackle, right? He had a 14.5% missed tackle rate. Well, Nakobe Dean, making way more money than Divine Diablo ever made for the Las Vegas Raiders, has not stepped on the field yet for the Las Vegas Raiders. And he got a big-ass contract, $30+ million. But he hasn't stayed healthy at all throughout his career. He's played less football than he's missed throughout his career. That's a question mark. And now he's not able to go through mini camp, to get camaraderie with his team, to get to know the names of the players even, right? He's that far behind. This could be a problem for us because if you look at the guys behind him, it's Cody Lindenberg, which I'm very, very high on. But is he a guy that can play 80% of the snaps if Nakobe Dean goes down? I don't feel like Cody Lindenberg is ready for that yet. Now, I could be wrong. He could be totally up for the challenge. But his little body of work that we've seen on the field is very questionable if he can maintain 85% of the snaps and do it at a high level, right? Questionable. Quay Walker, another guy coming off injuries, right? And I won't go into him too long, but it's pretty much the same thing. A lot of money coming off an injury, but he has a different attitude. From what I've heard from Nakobe Dean, I liked it was, okay. But what I heard Quay Walker say when he spoke, I loved, right? He said he hasn't had a coach that knows how to use him to his strengths, and he's been wanting to be that guy that can roam around and play all these different positions and do what he does best. Get to the quarterback, tackle guys, knock the souls out of people, right? but you got to be healthy to do that. So question marks. Eric Stokes, right? It seems like Alex Guerrero in the building has got a lot of these injured players that the Raiders brought in healthy enough and good enough to make it through a full season. Now, Eric Stokes only made it, I do believe, through his second full season with the Las Vegas Raiders. So I don't feel like there's much of a question mark there. If he stays healthy, he's a lockdown guy, and he's only going to get better in a Rob Leonard style defense where I believe you're going to be blitzing corners, right? You're going to be bringing guys, from the safety spot. You're going to be sending 6 constantly, right? There's not going to be 5-man getting to the quarterback. I feel like there's going to be a whole lot of blitzes. Stay tuned. We're going to break some of that down as well. But then the biggest question mark, back to the question mark part, is Darian Porter. A guy that hasn't played a lot of football. He played 1 year in college. He played as a spot corner last year. I felt like he was better than the guy in front of him in Kai Blue Kelly. But the coaches didn't feel that way, right? He has the height. He has the size. And, his size and height and speed and all that kind of reminds me, I'm going to say it, of a Nnamdi Asomugha, right? A guy that was 6'2", 6'3", over 200 pounds. Now, Darian Porter has a little bit less weight, but he also has longer arms, has a little bit more reach, and he has a little bit more speed than Nnamdi did, right? Can he, second year with Joe Woods as a defense, can we get a steal from Darian Porter in the 3rd round? Big question mark, right? And the biggest question mark I have for Darian Porter is his lack of experience going to hurt him from beating out a guy like Hezekiah Massis or Jermon McCoy, who a lot of people think Jermon McCoy is going to be on the other side of Eric Stokes, but we've talked about this on this channel before. And shout out to the 23 people in the building. I see y'all. I appreciate y'all. But we talked about Jermon McCoy before on the roster, and the little birdie in my ear says he's taking reps behind Eric Stokes. So I feel like there's no need to rush Jermon McCoy, right? I feel like they're going to try to go through camp, see what happens when the pads come on, and, maybe make a decision then if, hey, maybe we just go get the surgery if that's what he wants to do, right? Let him sit out for a year. Eric Stokes to sign for a 3-year deal, and let him come in and compete next year? Or do we just bring him in on certain packages and bring him in along slowly, sitting behind Eric Stokes? Because on the other side, you have Darian Porter, but you have Hezekiah Massis, right? Drafted in the 5th round. Now, I got a video coming out. If I can ever get time to do this shit, I know I keep saying I have videos coming out. They don't ever come out. But I got one coming out. Hezekiah Massis, man. How was this young man slipped to the 5th round? If you look at his size, his production the last year in college football, where he came from. We have another famous corner in the building, also from those parts, right? But you look at Hezekiah Massis and his ball skills and, 5 years in college, I do believe, right? Playing that position compared to 1 with Darian Porter. But Darian Porter does have the NFL experience. But Hezekiah Massis has been a guy that the little birdie in my ear said, man, the dude, if he gets beat, he's coming back and making a play the next time. And the first thing that came to my mind, let me know the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of a player that gets beat and then comes back and makes a big play, right? For me, it was Amik Robinson. That was the guy for me that popped in my head as soon as he said it. Now, he's bigger than Amik Robinson. I don't think he's faster, right? But he has longer arms. He's bigger than Amik. And when I heard that, I was like, okay, so you got this 5th round guy coming in, 5th round pick coming in, who all he did was make plays at Cal, right? He knows the East Bay kind of, I'm sure, the Raiders were already gone by then, but still, he knows the area, knows kind of the culture over there, and he's making plays. First, it started out with the 3s. Then it's kind of like Malik Benson, started out with the 3s. Then he moved up to the 2s. And now he's getting burned with the 1s, and he's holding his own, right? So big question mark for Darian Porter. A lot of guys, fighting behind him. Some who else is behind him? I'll look at the roster in a minute. But then another question mark is Teron Johnson, right? Teron Johnson, I believe is Teron. If he's healthy, he's one of the top slot corners in the league. The biggest problem the Raiders had last season, you guessed it was the slot position. Whether it was a tight end that was stronger than our slot guy, whether, because most of the times it was Darnay Holmes and I don't know why I want to say Greedy Vance. I think he was playing safety. Maybe it was Greedy. But anyways, right? A lot of the times when it came to the slot, we were getting cooked teams, no matter what defense we were in, right? Which a lot of the times it was cover three. And we were in that cover three. They're just picking apart those soft zones. They're just passing over the middle. They're passing short out of the backfield, right? Keeping guys out of position. And that was one of our biggest weaknesses, in my opinion. It was safety, it was linebacker, and it was the slot, right? And if the defense, a lot of people say it was defensive line. A lot of people were like, man, we need a defensive lineman in this draft. But I don't feel like that was the case. I felt like the linebackers and the safeties let the defensive line down, right? They could, if they did get pressure, it was just a big play because they weren't doing their 111 and covering their guys. So questions with Darian Porter, Teron Johnson, if he's healthy, man, that changes his defense completely, right? You got a guy that's a top slot guy that can play that position. He can also, play that big nickel. He can also play safety, free safety or strong safety, right? So another guy that has just so much versatility to help this defense. And then Jeremy Chin is that thumper who's probably going to play a lot of, mostly that strong nickel, strong safety, but he's also more than likely going to be that, third linebacker in a bunch of sets, right? Going to be that jack type guy. And then Traden Stukes, which is crazy that they have Traden Stukes there over Isaiah Palomau, but that's their roster they have projected for us. So again, I went over the questions on offense. There's a little bit of questions, but the teams behind us are the Tennessee Titans with Cam Ward, Carnell Tate, Wandale Robinson, Calvin Ridley, who took a pay cut to come back, right? Jeffrey Simmons on defense, Jordan Elliott, Simone Thomas, John Franklin Myers. I'm really shocked that they put the Tennessee Titans above the Raiders, 28th. Let me know in the comments how you feel about it. But man, John Franklin Myers, Cody Barrett, Cedric Gray, Alontae Taylor. That's a nasty roster, bro. And then this I don't understand this, bro. I can think of a lot of teams looking at this roster, and I went through it before I came on here. As soon as I seen the Arizona Cardinals were 29th and the Raiders were 27th, I was like, man, this does not mean anything to Raider Nation. For one, they don't even have the players right, who's going to play, who's going to start, because we don't even know. This is just a projection and where they see us. But again, I really feel like they're forgetting about the coaching of the offense. But the Arizona Cardinals, man, Jacoby Brissett, which could or could not be Jacoby Brissett. It could also be Gardner Minshew, and it could very well be a guy that made it to the national championship last year. And had a chance to win it, but just got Whiskey Peter on the last play and didn't put enough into it. But then we got Jeremiah Love. He could be a top 5 running back very, very soon if he's not already. You got Marvin Harrison Jr., first-round pick. You got Michael Wilson, who played out of his mind last year, and if you had a better quarterback to get him to the ball and a better offensive line to protect, man, oh, man. Kendrick Bourne, I mean, we see what he did in for the Patriots, right? Then you got Trey McBride, who the last couple years has been a top tight end in all of the NFL, right? And then behind him, you got Elijah Higgs, which is another guy that might impress some people. Their offensive line is Paris Johnson, Isaac Samola. Where was this center? Where was this guy drafted? Their center is 6'5", 310. Now that is gigantic for a center. Out of anybody know? Does anybody know where he was out of? Out of Arkansas, man. Out of Arkansas. But yeah. So 2019, 4th round pick out of Arkansas. I was trying to get him 4 years ago on the squad, but they never listened to me. We would have had our center and wouldn't have had to pay $85 million for a center for 3 years. You know, could have had one just coming off his rookie deal. Imagine how that would change the franchise. Chase Basantes, Will C, and Elijah Wilkins. Defensive wise, they got Walter Nolan III, who I think, you know, if he's healthy this year, is a dog. I really wanted the Raiders to pick him up last year. They got Darius Robinson, Josh Sweat, Bubba Baker, Garrett Wilson, right? Maybe not. Their roster on defense might be a little questionable, but they got some dogs. And then 29, they have the Atlanta Falcons, where Kirk Cousins came from. This is very puzzling to me because you have Bijan Robinson, top 3 running back. Yes, I said it. Top 3 running back in the NFL, if he's not number 1. Drake London, Jonah Dotson, Kyle Pitts, one of the top-rated offensive line in all of football. But they have Divine Diablo at linebacker, and I think that's why they are ranked 30th in the NFL. No, I'm just playing. But yeah, the Cleveland Browns and the Miami Dolphins, man. So that's the lineup. That's the lineup. How do I stop sharing this? Thank you. That was killing me. Well, yeah. So why I believe the Las Vegas Raiders are not 27th and their roster is much better than some people will give them credit for. Let me get to our Les Raiders. Right. And this is why. This, my friend, is why. Get to this chat again. How was my night? Fader Raider, what's good? My night is good. Y'all good, my brother? He's in a good system. That helps a lot. Shout out with a soft ass trophy, soccer trophy. At least I get to see the trophies this time. But appreciate Fader Raider with the trophy, rip it and flip it. You know what's funnier than spending the money they spend every year on a journeyman quarterback, only to find out Aiden O'Connell is better when they draft 1 overall and find out the same. Oh, rip it and flip it. Always coming with the hot takes. I'm going to leave that up there for a little while. I'm going to leave that up there with the finger snap. Just saying. Appreciate the finger snap. Appreciate the UNC alert. What does that mean? Uncle alert? Uncle alert? I don't know what that is, but shout out again. Should clarify to be fair. I think this year AOC is the better option career-wise. Mendoza is promising. I'll wait to see what he looks like in the league. Okie dokie. I like it. Shout out for the Uncle alert. Sacktown. What up? Shout out for the star. Shout out. What is going on over here? Thanks for the other star. Arnie Garza in the building. Sorry I couldn't see the chat. It was covered up by the other thing that I had up on the screen. It's a portrait. Question. Bold prediction for training camp risers and fallers. 2 on offense, 2 on defense. Well, Arnie Garza, shout out to you in the building, my guy. And let's just pull that up and look at it. Let's just pull this up and look at it. So, risers from my guy Arnie to the Garza. We are going to go with on offense. My risers are, why won't this damn thing go away? Your ads are killing me. You get me in trouble. Thank you. It's funny they still have Dante Thornton second. That's just crazy to me. I don't know how. But this is what they're looking at. Jack Best, Dante Thornton, Trey Tucker, Malik Vincent as his backup. I don't even think that's the case. I don't see that in the scenario whatsoever. All right. I can't put this up, but this ad won't go away. This is ridiculous. Flipping ridiculous. But my risers, 2 offense camp risers, is going to be none other than Cedric Jackson. And I got to stick to my guns, Aiden O'Connell. I think he's going to come out in the system when the pads come on, and he's going to pick defenses apart. And I'm going to roll with that. Cedric Jackson, Aiden O'Connell, they're going to be hooking up a lot for a lot of plays. But since Aiden is a given, I'll give you another one. My other riser is going to be when the pads come on. Somebody that y'all don't expect. I really feel like it's going to be Caleb Rogers, right? I feel like he's worked this whole offseason. He's one of the first ones in the building. He's one of the last ones to leave from what the little birdie in my ear has said, right? The dude's been out there grinding. He's impressing the coaching staff. He's impressing the players around him. And I think that bodes well for the Las Vegas Raiders because it gives us a lot of options, right? It gives us a lot of options. It gives us solid depth if Caleb Rogers does win the job. And it also gives us a lot of trade candidates like a JPJ, like a Jordan Meredith, right? Even a guy like Antonio Mafi. I mean, he came out and played a little bit, right? But my next guy, risers and fallers as risers, is going to be Malik Vincent. I think when the top comes off on offense, and then Caleb Rogers on defense. I'm really hoping it's Xavier Sorey because our linebacker depth is not very good, man. I would like to see Chris Thomas as well do something. I'd like to see Tanner Wall do something. But my riser, I'm going to have to go with Hezekiah Massis, right? You have Darian Porter. You have DeCamarion Richardson behind him. Haven't heard anything. I even asked a little birdie in my ear if you could find out something for me. Have somebody keep an eye on him, whatever, right? Nothing worth reporting, right? I even text before I came on. DeCamarion Richardson. I got one of these. the little emoji with the hands up. I don't know. So, yeah, DCAM, bro. You're going to have to do something. It's not just on special teams, man. You're going to have to make a statement because Hezekiah Massis is coming for your job, bro. He is coming for it. So, Hezekiah Massis, and then risers and fallers. I'm going with Tonka Hemingway, man. I really feel like Tonka Hemingway is going to push to get more reps this year. I know he has a big job ahead of him with Thomas Booker being, the guy in front of him because Thomas Booker is just built like a brick shithouse, solid like a rock, strong as hell. And Tonka's, under 300 pounds, right? But he has good movement. He has a damn good first step. He has good, solid, violent hands, right? And his point of attack, his target is usually pretty solid from the film I watched from him last year. So I really like Tonka Hemingway, but I'd have to say, out of all these guys, defensive wise, risers and fallers, I got Dalton Johnson, man. I got Dalton Johnson. Now it might take him a while to get the speed of the NFL, but I feel like Dalton Johnson is a guy that if he can come up and be that, guy that can play sub out Jeremy Chin in certain packages, because I do believe he's a little faster. Don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure, but I do believe he's faster. Physical as well. Isaiah Palomalu, they still have at the free safety spot, right? And I've even looked at different rosters, and some have them different. But Tristan McCollum is a guy that I've heard somebody, text me, keep an eye on Tristan McCollum because they heard me talking about him a couple weeks ago. A guy that played in Philly, right, was in a Fangio defensive style. And he played okay for us last year, right? It was off and on. It was up and down. But nobody really played solid. The defense was really out of place. You had two defensive coaches, one Pete Carroll and one Patrick Graham, and they were both trying to do different things. And I feel like the whole defense deserves a pass. And you could say the same thing as the offense. Every player on the offense deserves a pass. But guys that I think you should watch out for on defense is Malcolm Kuntz, Hezekiah Massis, and Dalton Johnson. I think Dalton Johnson is gonna make some plays this camp. So if you hear his name, remember where you heard it first. How much you smoked today? Well, probably couldn't answer that on camera because then y'all think I have a problem. I don't know. I'm in landscape mode now. Nice. Y'all don't know what's going on. Neither do I. 2 different channels, 2 different chats. Why you got 2 different channels? It's common for podcasters to stream on 2 different platforms. Oh, is there really different questions on the other one? That's crazy. I'm gonna stop streaming on the other one, I think. Yeah, but are both on YouTube. Yeah, that's crazy. I gotta look at that. Hold on, I gotta take this off. I gotta look over there. I never even paid attention to that. Well, for what y'all paid for Linderbaum, he ought to be a one-man O-line. Damn. Look, I agree as well, my brother. For the money we gave up for Linderbaum, he needs to be a one-man something. And his pass pro has scared me a little bit, but looking at this roster, man, I said I was going to tell y'all 5 players that nobody's talking about, that need to have big years that'll really help the Raiders. 5. And I'll give you, actually, I'll make it 6. I'll give you 3 on each. But the first one is Malik Benson. If he continues to take the top off the defense, get behind the defense, you remember who he's playing against. Eric Stokes, 4.3 speed, right? Darian Porter, 4.3 speed. Teron Johnson is up there with like 4.3 or 4. No, I think it's 4.4, like 4.4, 4.3. Right? All these guys on our defense are 4.3, under 4.4 guys that Malik Benson is just running around and getting behind, right? So if Malik Benson continues to do what he does, man, that's bad for Dante Thornton, but it's great for this offense, right? So Malik Benson, if he's what I think he's going to be, he's a big part of this defense. And the second one will be Aiden O'Connell if Kirk Cousins can't go, but it's going to be Kirk Cousins, right? Because if they go with Fernando day one, it's Fernando. But basically, it's all 3 of our quarterbacks, right? If Kirk Cousins can be the Kirk Cousins he's been throughout his career, we're going to hit the ground running and beat a lot of teams. But for that to happen, it's got to be Ashton Genty or Mike Washington, right? Or Roman Himby. So those are my three guys. If these three guys have big years, and of course, the offensive line has to be healthy. We can't have musical chairs on the offensive line. And if I have to say that, then, I don't know what to tell y'all, but it should be a given. It should be a given. You have to have an offensive line for any of these to work. So Malik Benson, Ashton Genty, and Mike Washington, and Kirk Cousins, Fernando, or Aiden O'Connell, right? Depending on who's out there, who gets to start, who wins. I still feel like it's Aiden O'Connell. I ain't gonna change my shit. I feel like he's the best quarterback in the building right now. Kirk, yes, maybe 2 years ago was way better than Aiden. It was night and day and not even close. But I feel like right now, at 38 years old, Aiden, I think, has just as good, if not a little bit, maybe better mobility, a stronger arm, I know for sure. And the intelligence is up there, right? The intelligence is up there. We've seen through his stats in his career. So those are my three. It's got to be quarterback play, Malik Benson, and the running back room. If we get those three guys, right, I believe this is different. And I think the key is Malik Benson. But now, guys that not a lot of people are talking about that we need to have big years and play well to make this team, a winning team. And I think it comes down to the backups, right? I feel like it comes down to some backups making pushes. And one of those guys is Charles Grant. If Charles Grant can push DJ Glaze and show that he's better than DJ Glaze, that gives us a better right tackle with a solid and stronger offensive line. And I think that changes the whole trajectory of the season if that happens. So Charles Grant, I feel, needs to have a big year. And then the surprise one is Cedric Jackson, man. It's Cedric Jackson. Cedric Jackson, if he somehow makes this roster and becomes that third or fourth guy, right? And I'm going to tell you why. Because our offense is being slept on. And this is, I should have put up quotes and all that shit, but let me stop sharing this first. Right, I could have wrote all this down and put it all on the little thingy. I'll see you, Arnie guards. I'll get to it in a minute. But a lot of people are sleeping on two very, very, very high subjects and topics that a lot of people are forgetting that I feel makes this wide receiver room completely slept on and overlooked, as the title says, right? I think I know our offensive line is overlooked, and I know for a fact these wide receivers are overlooked with what Clint Kubiak's going to do, and I'm going to tell you why, right? Cedric Jackson. Now, he's only 25 years old. He has the size. He has the speed. He runs damn good routes. I was watching some route running that he was doing behind, guess who? Two of the best receivers in all of NFL, right? A lot of people miss the fact that he was at Cincinnati. The Bengals had Joe Burrow throwing him the ball, right? But in front of him, he had two of the best receivers in all of the NFL. You get to learn from a guy, right? That's pretty much tops in the league every year. And then, a second year guy that's making $30 million a season as well, right? So you got Higgins over there. You got the hell. But yeah, so you're learning from right two of the top receivers in the NFL on one team. You get to see how they carry themselves, how they show up to work, how they perform in the weight room, right? How they are with the people in the building. But more importantly, you get to see how two of the top, probably the best duo wide receiver group in all of the NFL, how they show up to work, how they perform, how they carry themselves, how they, more importantly, how they recover after games, right? How they take care of their body, how they eat right and, show discipline on taking care of their body and their eating habits. which makes you a better football player, right? Makes you faster, makes you healthier, makes you stronger. But then the main one is the route running, right? What they do on the field, how they set up corners, right? How they run their routes, how they drop their hips, how they put their hands up late, right? All these things is a guy that Cedric Jackson got to learn. Now, he wasn't there a long time, but sometimes it doesn't take, a guy that's watching and getting to do, same thing in practice, right? You see us out there running routes. So if you got one of the best receivers in the NFL running in front of you, running his route, and then you get to go next, right? You're trying to emulate those things. You're trying to be that guy. And then, you got Higgins on the other side. It just bodes well for Cedric Jackson, right? Has everything that Clint Kubiak wants. He has that JSN route running type, the speed. He can make the catches. He showed he can make the catches. But what he was on a roster and a team that had poor coaching, right? And he was shuffled to the back like Aiden O'Connell has been, like Dylan Labe has been, like a lot of players on our roster, Michael Mayer, right? A lot of players have been pushed to the back because of the turnover constantly. And Cedric Jackson, in his second year with us, I really feel like, and I'm hearing a lot of good things about Cedric Jackson, right? He's making plays from the slot as well, just like Malik Benson, and he's making plays from the outside, and he's taking the top off the defense. So you got a guy like Cedric Jackson that was in Cincinnati, had a guy like Joe Burrow throwing him the ball, right? He sees how he works and his work ethic. You see how they do things over there with two of the top receivers in the NFL. And then you go to Trey Tucker, and we've talked about Trey Tucker before, right? Had Devontae Adams in his ear. He still has Devontae on speed dial. I know for a fact they still talk, right? They still call each other, how's everything going? How's the family, right? They're still friends. So you have a guy like Devontae Adams he can lean on, but he also has a guy like Devontae that taught him how to run routes, right? How to beat defenders, how to start off slow and then use that speed when you put the old rope-a-dope, right? You one step one way, you get the hips going that way or the body leaning that way, and then boom, you hit that 4.3 speed and you're gone, right? So Trey Tucker, another guy that learned from one of the greatest, and Devontae Adams also learned, had Hunter Renfrow in the building, had Jacoby Myers in the building, right? He's learned from some damn good receivers. And then you go over to Jalen Naylor, another guy, only 25 years old. And who has he learned from? Justin Jefferson, right? Addison. I mean, you have three receivers in our building that are being highly, highly, in my opinion, overlooked, right? And ESPN's wide receiver rankings completely showed that. ESPN's offensive rankings completely showed that. They are overlooking the fact of who was in front of these guys when they were being developed. And to me, I believe that makes a big, big difference. If you look at the history of the NFL, right? When you draft guys in the first round, second round, it makes all the difference in the world who those guys are in front of them, right? You look at teams like the Patriots that go and get a Stephon Diggs, to help out their young guys in the building. You look at the Kansas City Chiefs that went and got what's his name from the Titans? Damn it, I don't know why my mind just drew a blank again. But you know what I'm saying? You go get veteran receivers to help these young guys out. And Minnesota did that when they brought in Jalen Naylor, right? The Bengals did that when they brought in Cedric Jackson. The Raiders have done that since they brought in Trey Tucker. So I think that's big. It bodes well for these guys. And then you mix in the fact that you have the mastermind on offense in Clint Kubiak, who's gonna have so many different schemes, right? The more I watch Seattle, I watched a whole entire game 2 days ago of the playoffs. Dude, the things this man does on offense and the way he sets it up and the way, he designs his plays. So the defense is, on their heels, are caught in bad situations, are, rubbing each other off the play, right? Clint Kubiak is going to be the main difference. But those three guys, I feel, are key to this team. And then on defense, to me, it's Malcolm Kuntz, right? They got him listed behind Max Crosby. I believe he's going to be on the other side. And I feel I have a feeling that Malcolm Kuntz, with the competition we have in the building now, that if he doesn't go out there and perform well in camp when the pads come on and in the preseason, that leaves the door open for Cyan Sloan. That leaves the door open for Brendan Jackson, who I felt like last year, if he wasn't hurt and injured, that he would have played an awful lot of football for us. So having that for Malcolm Kuntz, when you got guys like Brendan Jackson, Cyan Sloan, if they move them to the other side, you got Kwity Payne and Kieron Crawford and still Jafari Harvey that is on this team that I've talked about an awful lot. So this roster is deep as hell. And if you're looking at the starting guys, you might could say we might be in the 20s. But if you're looking at first, second, and third teams, I feel like we're up there in the top 15. I really do. Like the depth we have of guys that are unknown and unproven that played a lot of good football in their careers, it's kind of scary. It's kind of scary. So Malcolm Kuntz, I feel, is the guy that's going to be slept on, right? Because if you're using, if you're in a 3-4 base defense and you have three guys with their hand in the dirt, that doesn't mean you're not going to creep your linebackers up to the line of scrimmage on a lot of plays. And if you're doing that, Malcolm is that guy. I feel like he's better in coverage than Kwity Paye and Kieron Crawford and Jafari Harvey and Brendan Jackson. Now, Cyan Sloan is the only one that, I question his coverage from what I've seen from his film is pretty damn good. So that's a big question. So if Malcolm Kuntz, Thomas Booker, right? Thomas Booker has to have a huge year this year. He has to be the main guy in the middle to shore up this run and make sure, right, they don't get to the next level to the linebackers. And if Thomas Booker plays like he said, in his interview, wants to be that leader, wants to be that next guy, Malcolm Kuntz, Thomas Booker, and whoever's on the other side of the corner, right? Whether it's Darian Porter, whether it's DeCamarion Richardson, whether it's Hezekiah Massis, whether they decide to go with Gerard McCoy, right? Chigazi Enusim as well. And Caleb Oford. Don't forget about Caleb Oford. And then the guy that I want to really make this team, man, is Devin Perkins, right? I like Devin Perkins. I like Devin Lafayette an awful lot. So it's going to be hard cutting a lot of these guys. But if some of these young guys, right? So my top three on defense is Thomas Booker, Malcolm Kuntz, and then it has to be Darian Porter, Richardson, or Hezekiah Massis. If one of those guys on that right side can be a lockdown guy, that changes his defense drastically, right? Because we don't have to play. But the one thing about Darian Porter is he plays a lot of zone, right? He's a lot better in zone. Hopefully he's been working on man-to-man. But I feel like DeCamarion Richardson and Hezekiah Massis are better man players when it comes to press, and that's just going to pretty much come down to what we run this season, which is going to be a lot. We have to everyone wrong on the field due to more talent driven by both defense and offense. We have to everyone wrong on the field. I don't know what that means. Geno Smith has a curse to the Raiders. ESPN now has CBS, and now CBS are Raider haters. I feel like they have been for a while. I feel like they have been. Typical Raiders fans. Typical Raiders fans. King of Pirates. You come in here talking about King of Pirates, talking about typical Raider fans. Come on, man. Lobby is terrible, fumbles too much. Lobby is terrible, fumbles too much. He's only had one fumble in his whole entire career in the NFL, bro. One. He had one in a preseason game. That doesn't count. It's not an NFL career stats. They don't show up. Look up career stats. You don't get preseason. You have to look them up separately. Dylan Lobby has had one fumble in his career. It was the first time he ran the ball. How can you say he fumbles too much? He was never given another chance. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. The narratives that people throw out there from the things they hear or read without seeing and making their own decisions sometimes is crazy to me. Like, you got one play and never got another opportunity. National media sucks in general. I hear that. um, Word I'm in the don't listen to these frauds. They experience and pundits all get paid the same amount, whether they're spot on or completely off basis. So their analysis are pretty shallow. Right? I heard that. I heard that. My guy Lawrence in the building. It's good, my brother. Glad to have you. Do you like guys? Are you trying to come out on my show? Please do that somewhere else, bro. I like football. I have some guys that are friends and homies. So I mean, however you want to say that. Let's prove everyone wrong by being competitive every game with development in every position group throughout the season. I hope so, man. I hope so. I hope so. And I don't know how we can't be, right? I don't see any us getting beat out. What's up with JPJ? I like that cat. Well, JPJ, if you want to go back and watch the beginning after this is over, he's struggling out there. This is his third regime, and they don't seem to be on board with, they're not picking up what JPJ is putting down. So maybe it's his character, maybe it's immaturity. I don't know. I don't know. But there's been a lot of talk about, his first step. I've talked a lot about his penalties and his injuries. So we'll see with JPJ. It all remains to be seen. But right now, from the little birdie in my ear, says Caleb Rogers is ahead of that race. So we'll see. Oh, you know something? What? Jaron Meredith will not be a starter on our team except in preseason. We'll see. We shall see. We shall see. Who do you guys want to start at quarterback? I want to see Aiden O'Connell start. I always root for the underdogs. I like to see the kid that's been out there grinding every day in practice, one of the first ones in the building, one of the last ones to leave, gives it his all. Everybody on the team likes him, right? He's not a problem, can play good football, very intelligent. And, I just want to see the kid get a chance. So I want to see Aiden O'Connell. If it's Kirk Cousins, I'm not mad. If it's Fernando Mendoza, I guess I can't be mad. But more than likely, it's going to be Kirk Cousins unless, somebody plays lights out and beats him out. But even if somebody plays lights out in the preseason and beats him out, it could still be Kirk Cousins. So we'll see. We'll see. Hawk's personal preference would be Cousins. Don't want Mendoza to get in there and struggle. And then he's got to work out the next couple seasons. I agree with that. If Mendoza plays well in camp and preseason, maybe he would have to play extremely lights out. Like, not okay. He would have to play lights out. If Cousins ain't the guy after camp, then yeah, start him. If Cousins can keep them in games, might as well ride with him until he struggles. Agreed. Every year since 2016, high hope, low failures. Ooh, need to improve this year. Kubiak's offense, Leonard's defense, play rookies and second-year players all year round. I agree, Arnie Garza. I agree. Let's get the youth movement in, right? They call it a rebuild. Well, in a rebuild, you put these guys out there and you see what you have. Dean will be on the injured reserves when we start the season. Linebacker will be Lindenberg. We're starting in his place. I like that. I don't like the fact that we're paying all this money to Kobe Dean and he's going to start the season on IR. But I do know, like, a lot of people overlook the fact that he was out there. I do believe the first day or two, our first couple days, there's pictures of him out there with a helmet and pads walking around. So did he go out there, mess around and hurt something? Or he was just out there watching? I don't know. Doesn't make sense. I disagree with you. I don't think we need Linderbaum. I would have rather started JPJ at center. But that being said, I'd rather have JPJ and Rogers at guard. I agree 100%. I'm with you 1,000%, man. I didn't feel like there was a need to go out and spend $81 million on a center to run Kubiak's offense. And if we do need the highest paid center in the history of the NFL to run an offensive line, that's a problem. That's a problem with the coaching. That's a problem with the coach. Like, if you feel like your system needs the best and the highest paid players at every position, to me, that's a problem. Hold on, I gotta get my phone. Shit. Sorry, I heard it going crazy. But yeah, I really don't feel like we needed to spend $81 million and 32 million or 25 or whatever he's making a season. Crazy to me. I would have much rather see JPJ start at center with Caleb Rogers at guard and Jordan Meredith the other guard. I'd have been fine with that offensive line. I'm telling you, I would have rocked with that. I'd rather Tonka over Lalu and over Adam Butler. I agree with that too. But the problem with that is Tonka Hemingway's 285 pounds soaking wet, right? And I don't think you can play nose tackle. Last year, when he got his sacks, he was, playing that pretty much 5 tech and playing it kind of that defensive end role. Lalu, I think those two are about the same. Adam Butler, I don't think is big enough really to play that, to play that nose tackle role either. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting to watch what they do on defense, right? Because I really feel like the nose tackle isn't going to be a thing. I'm thinking they're going to go, maybe a nose and then, two defensive tackles probably playing, like a 3 or 4 tech, and then your linebackers, dropping up to the line of scrimmage and moving off and on. But Tonka Hemingway, depends on the middle. I don't know. If we're in a 3-4 a lot, I don't know how much he's going to play. And that sucks, right? So even if we're and pretty much any package, right? The way they played him last year, I don't know. Faded Raider, appreciate you with the GOAT. Love it. Shout out for the $2 holla. Raiders. Bush Raider in the building. What's good, my brother? Let's go 9 more Sundays until football. Now there's a comment I could deal with. I love it. My guy Steve in the building. What's good? I like the show. But no doubt AOC has had some chances to do something, and he hasn't. If he was good, we would have seen him by now. KC game, he did nothing. It was all defense that won the game. What about the other KC game 2 years last year, year before last, where he threw 340 yards and 2 touchdowns, and we lost because of a JPJ botch snap? What about the game he threw 4 touchdowns in the first half against the Chargers? What about the comeback win against the Jets? What about the comeback win against the Giants? What about, I don't know how you can say the kid don't play. He's had opportunities with what? Bad coaching, bad offensive line, no wide receivers, no running game. You call that an opportunity in the NFL? then I respect your opinion, but I strongly disagree. I mean, strongly disagree. If you're telling me that's an opportunity with guys like Jordan, Alexander Madison as your running back, and Zamir White with Alex Cappa as your center, or Andre James as your center, with your number one receiver is Jacoby Myers, and your third receiver is Alex Bachman. You tell me that's an opportunity? I mean, I just don't see it. I don't see it. So, agree to disagree. The kid has had his chances, and there's a reason he's 7-9, but there's a reason he has 22 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. We didn't lose games because of Aiden O'Connell. We lost games because of bad coaching, bad decisions, bad personnel moves, and horrible play on the field from a lot of players. Doppler, what's good? What's good with the high five, my brother? What's good? What's good? John Leone in the building. Hi today with the $5 for Rizzle, my nizzle. I appreciate you. Can't wait until football. Yes, I can't wait, man. We are 9 Sundays away. We are less than a month till preseason. The first preseason game, August 9th at home against a Cardinals team that's going to be open a lot of people's eyes. I hope so. The few games I watched of Aiden O'Connell play, I think he brings a lot to the offense. Now, see, this is what I like when we have people that know football from other teams that can come in and see what we have in a quarterback and what he's done in his career. Because, again, I could pull up highlight reel after highlight reel of the kid rolling out of the pocket, backpedaling. The play I showed a while ago out of the end zone, right, against Denver, 34 to 18 on the 1 yard line, 2 minutes left. Kid makes a crazy Patrick Mahomes style, getaway out to the left, throwing off, crazy back shoulder catch to Jacoby Myers. Like, I don't know. I really have to question people's football knowledge when they say Aiden O'Connell can't play football. It just doesn't make sense to me, right? I don't know what they're watching. But then you got guys that are Seattle fans and say, the few games I've watched of Aiden O'Connell play, I think he brings a lot to the offense. Now, y'all might have to look in the mirror. Just not a big sample size, right? But imagine what the young man could have done if he would have got, continuous starts, if they wouldn't have tried to put people in front of him because of how much money they were making or the name on the back of their jersey, right? Just think of where he could be right now. We might not have to be paying Kirk Cousins, and we could have used that first overall draft pick to trade down or take a defensive lineman or, whatever. I don't think there was a lot of first round picks in this draft, that first overall picks in this draft, but, could have been different. Doppler Gang says, the moment Kubiak got hired, I started thinking about how much he could help the development of Aiden. Doesn't mean he's going to happen, but it's the best chance he has for elevating his future. 100% agreed. Now, the biggest problem I have is Seattle. They run a lot of play action, a lot of naked boots. And the movement might not be the greatest for him. My channel is the name, always promoting Rebel on my channel as well. Appreciate you, Candy Angel, for the promotions. Always. Shout out for the $2 Hollow Faded Raider. Let's go. This is a whole new version of board. Oh, that's a whole new version of boredom. I thought you said the channel was. I was like, damn, I might just quit doing YouTube after that. Shit. Can we get some Raiders convo in the chat, please? Right? Less complaints about Raiders trolls would be great. Who's trolling? Why they trolling? Where's my mods? Y'all ain't kicking people. I got snipers. Where they at? Where are the snipers in the building? Crawford. I love it. Crawford. How far am I in this chat? Holy shit, y'all got chat crazy tonight. It's crazy when I bring on guests, y'all don't want to talk, y'all don't want to show up, but when I'm by myself, y'all be blowing up the chat. I love it. I love it. I think our D line to show up this year, Kuntz, Crawford, or Pay need to show up opposite of Max Crosby, and Butler or whoever is starting on DT have to be consistent. I agree to that to an extent, right? I really feel like if you look at this defensive line, and let me pull it up real quick. Let me pull it up real quick. Right? If we're looking at this defensive line, let me just maximum size this. Oh, that didn't work. Try that one. Right. So if you're looking at the defensive line, man, you have, and I don't know who's going to make the 53, but let's just assume it's Thomas Booker, Tonka Hemingway, Adam Butler, Benito Jones. A lot of people are forgetting about Benito Jones, including myself. I totally skipped over Benito Jones out of Miami. He's a guy that could come in and play that nose tackle better than Adam Butler, right? Cleveland also, Brandon Cleveland and Lackey Tassie. Those are three guys that I didn't even talk about, right? If one of those guys, and this was a part of the thing I forgot to talk about, right? I had three guys that need to break out, and then I have one guy for each side that if they have a breakout season, this is a whole nother team. And those three I forgot were Lackey Tassie, Brandon Cleveland, and Benito Jones. Right? If they can just get pushed and move the center back at the point of the attack, that frees up our linebackers, our safeties, our whoever is going to be up there. But I believe it's going to be so many packages where there's going to be guys on the line that are safeties, guys that are linebackers on the line. Many times you see Seattle with 8 guys on the line, and only two a safety and 2 corners, right? I think we're going to see a lot of that. But if you're telling me you got Thomas Booker, Tonka Hemingway, Adam Butler, Benito Jones, JJ Pegues, and Jonah Laulu rotating in constantly, that's scary, right? Because Benito Jones is up there. Adam Butler's getting up there. Thomas Booker, not too much. But then you have Jonah Laulu, Tonka Hemingway, and JJ Pegues that are young guys that have motors that if you could keep them fresh and in a fresh rotation where they can not lose their rhythm, man, that bodes super well for the Las Vegas Raiders, right? So Kuntz and Crawford and Pay, yes, I think definitely somebody needs to do something on the opposite side of Max. And, I wouldn't be surprised if they mix it up and put, Malcolm Kuntz, Brendan Jackson, Cyan Sloan, right? I don't know who's going to be on this roster. But for my roster predictions, they probably won't even be close because, we don't know what they're going to do. But it's hard to be consistent if you're going to have a multiple rotation is what I'm saying, right? If you have a 6-man rotation which I don't know if they keep 6 defensive tackles, it might be 5, right? Might even be 4. How was everyone's night? Which under Leonard, they should, as Leonard's D-line coach. I agree with that. Leonard being the D-line coach, hearing Travis Smith talk about Robbie Leonard and Rob Leonard talk about Travis Smith, I think these guys are going to hit it off. They both have similar styles. And, Robbie Leonard's going to let it fly this year. He's going to let it fly. We are swinging for the fences. Can't wait till the Houston game, right? Can't wait till the Houston game either if I go. Thanks, mods. Good chat interaction. Appreciate you, Daba. Appreciate you for pulling up. Will you keep Lobby over Indiana back? I've said this before, right? It depends on how they use Roman Hemby. Because if they don't put Roman Hemby on special teams, which I don't think he can run kickoff returns or punt returns, Dylan Labe can. He might be able to be a gunner on defense or on special teams, on the defensive side of special teams, right? He might be able to play that gunner role, but I don't know if he has. I haven't seen it. Running back wise, I would take Roman Hemby. I'm not gonna lie. I love Dylan Labe, but I think Dylan Labe's best skill set is being able to put him in the backfield, and then right before the play is snapped, right, you stretch him out wide, you run him on, some in routes or some right, some cutback routes, some hook routes, some slant routes, get him the ball in space, or you just get him the ball in some wheel routes. I think that's Dylan Labe's specialty. But he is a damn good running back with the ball in his hands. He just, I don't know. I don't feel like he's better than Roman Hemby or Mike Washington or Ashton Genty. So that's going to be hard. But I would hate to lose Roman Hemby, man. I really like Roman Hemby. And I feel like that they put him on the practice squad. If somebody's running back gets hurt, they're going to snatch him up. So it's going to be fun to watch. But I'll say yes. I would keep Dylan Labe over Roman Hemby just because of the catching out of the backfield, right? Now, if Roman Hemby is a better blocker and is just as good as catching out of the backfield when the pads come on, then you got to keep Hemby over Labe. Because Labe's not very good in pass pro, right? He's better with the ball in his hands, but he's a lot better at catching. You can line him up as a receiver. You can line him up, as an H or a fullback and throw him the ball, get him the ball on out routes and shit. I think that's where he thrives. I'm swimming in the Raiders as I always do. It's how you should do it, man. It's how you should do it. It's how you should do it, my brother. Oh, I could take this down now. I already shared it. But yeah. So if you're looking at that defensive line, man, shout out for the red card. What is the red card? Oh, hockey, soccer. And I will say this. Shout out to the USA and how far they made it in the US Cup. But I will say this too. Y'all spent way too much money to be absolutely ass. And I've never been a soccer fan unless I was playing soccer. I don't think it's fun to watch. I think any sport where people are afraid to take the ball up the field and they kick it back to the damn goalie over and over again, I just don't see the point in that. And it's really irritating. So shout out they made it that far. But man, for all the money we spent, y'all should feel bad about yourselves. I'm just gonna say that all of the American soccer team for another year, y'all should feel bad for or another 4 years or however long the World Cup is. But man, that game was absolutely atrocious. There was too many mistakes, not enough pushing the ball up the field. You're running that 5-2-1, which is horrible. I would much rather see, the 4-3-2. It just gives you better options. But man, that was an ugly game and it was pitiful to watch. And I can't believe I paid $20 to watch it. I'm just saying, I really can't. So had to get that off my chest. But I'm so glad that soccer season is over and I don't have to hear about soccer, because to be honestly, that is one of the softest sports I've ever seen in my life. And if you like soccer, I apologize. But any sport where somebody barely gets touched in the leg and they, fall on the ground and start rolling around, holding their leg and, dying, and then they get up and run for 20 minutes like nothing ever happened. It's just crazy to me, bro. It's just crazy nonsense. And I don't even know how it became an American sport. I really don't. It just don't make no sense to me. Playing it is fun, but watching and seeing these guys, how much acting they're doing and these fake ass falls, and man, somebody's in front of me. Let's kick it back to the goalie 40 yards and start all over, bro. I don't understand it. Like I played it when I was younger. Never played it, in a league or nothing, just in school in PE. But to me, that's just crazy, bro. Absolutely crazy. Dylan Labe has too many fumbles. He has one fumble as a top 5 rushing defensive versus Steelers. Abdul had 2 fumbles same game. AP favored veterans. Players are giving younger players their fair shot. Let's be honest. AP didn't want a white running back out there. Come on. Let's be honest. I'm just playing. Can't wait to see Kubiak as head coach. I can't wait to see what he does either, man. We sure liked him in Seattle. After week 1, He was everything we hoped he would be. See, that's what I love to hear. And I feel the same way. There's a lot of Raider fans that think, oh, we're the same team from last year. We can only win 3 games. There's a lot of Raider fans that think Kirk Cousins is still, the greatest thing since sliced bread and is going to come in and do what he did even 2 or 3 years ago, right? But we'll see. But one thing I do know, like the sun rises and sets, is Clint Kubiak knows ball. Clint Kubiak's got a system, and it was different, right? Last year, Pete Carroll knows ball as well, but Pete Carroll is a defensive coordinator. He don't know shit about offense, and our defense wasn't our problem last year. Patrick Graham was okay. He wasn't great. The bend don't break was okay, but we had some damn good games, some really damn good games, and we didn't need a defensive head coach. And I was screaming that the whole time. Go get us an offensive minded head coach so we can know how to use our quarterback and our running backs and our receivers, and know how to block and know what blocking scheme works in the NFL, right? But we do know Pete Carroll was not an offensive-minded coach, but he wanted to try to be. And, even on the defensive side, he murdered us because they were just butting heads like 2 Rams out there, meaning Pete Carroll and Patrick Graham. But this year is different. Kubiak comes in with the guys that he wanted, right? The general manager and Tom Brady stayed out of the way and said, draft your people, bring in your people, right? You do the coaching interviews. You bring in the guys that you think helps fit your system. And we have failed to do that year in and year out, year in and year out, year in and year out for decades, right? We're constantly hiring a head coach, then letting him pick the general manager, and then he has all the say over the team. And if he's bad, we're shit, right? This year and last year, they went and got the general manager first. Now you have a general manager doing what general managers do, managing a team, right? Bringing in better scouts, bringing in better players, bringing in better coaches. And it's always worked like that in the NFL. It very, very seldomly works out where you go get this big name head coach and then he brings in a general manager, because that general manager is a yes man. And, that's what Tom Telesco was to, not Tom Telesco, but that's what Josh McDaniels, the GM, Dave Ziegler was, right? John Gruden brought in Mike Mayock. Damn well Mike Mayock was a yes man. He got that job pretty much, I feel, because of Gruden and, his drafting skills. But if Mike Mayock would have been doing the drafting, I felt the Raiders would have been way better off than letting John Gruden do it. My son is a huge Seahawks fan. We have an official conversation about our team. Nice. Seahawks fan. Is he a Seahawks fan before they won the Super Bowl or because they won the Super Bowl? Doppelganger. Prediction for the Raiders season. It's a little early for that. I gave one already. I see 10 games we can win. Is it possible we win 10 games? Very well possible. Is it, set in stone? Is it end all be all? No, it's just a prediction. I see 10 games that are winnable, but I have to see what we are in preseason, right? I have to see what the quarterback play looks like from Kirk Cousins, and I have to see what it looks like behind him and Aiden O'Connell. So I know that, if it's not right the first time, hopefully the second or the third quarterback will be able to get it right. But if I had to realistically guarantee set in stone, like other people have said, if I had a gun to my head or it was on my channel, I'd say 7 wins. I feel like 7 wins. We should be 7 wins or better, 6 minimum, 7 or better. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to this season over the last 3 seasons. I hope so. I can't say that, right? I can't say that. I was 100% looking forward to the season with Pete Carroll as head coach, right? I did all the videos, right? I said we should be 12-5 if everything goes correct, if Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly work together, right? If Pete Carroll stays the hell out of the offense, if he doesn't bring in his coaches, but then he brought in his coaches and they were his sons. And I was like, man, this season's over before it even started. This year, a little different. Last year with AP, I was stoked about AP. I really wanted to see what he could do. We just never got that opportunity. Josh McDaniels, man, I was mad from day one. I tried to let it work. Just couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. The was killing me. I've been a fan since 1983. I've seen good and bad, but the last 20 years have been pretty sweet. Nice. All of that with Paul and Jordy Allen. Wish she didn't have to sell the team. Did they sell the team? Or is that still in talks? Is Seattle going to sell? Because, I mean, the chances of them going back to back is very, very slim, especially losing Kubiak, right? And Kenneth Walker. And then having Chardonnay as their number one back this year. I think that's scary for Seattle. I've only been a fan of sports for the last few years. I started watching Raiders Unleashed. He is one of my longest friends, and I would have never been a fan if it wasn't for his passion. I appreciate that. I'm glad my passion can rub off on you. Probably not the only thing that rubbed off on you, but you know, I'm just saying. His passionate person about his Raiders. I'm passionate about everything. I'm passionate about everything. That's just who I am. I do everything 110% all in. I just don't do it, right? I hate half stepping. I hate people that do that. I don't hate people that do that. I just dislike when it's done. I'm not a true fan. What do you mean? I was born into the silver black in 1976. But every era we had definitely smells better this season. I love it. I love it. And I wish I was born into the Raider Nation, man. I really do. I wish I had parents that like sports, but my dad cannot stand any kind of sports whatsoever. Never has. You know, he was a rebel, kind of like me. Did everything but what you're supposed to, right? And then mom's never liked sports unless it was wrestling. She watched it once in a while. So I had a different road, man. It would have been nice to have a family all of Raider fans. Instead, I have 5 brothers. 5 brothers. Can you believe this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. None of them watch football. None of them like football. None of them have a team. Okay, one. My youngest brother, he's a Carolina Panthers fan. But can you imagine having 5 brothers that don't like football with the way I love football and the passion I have for the Raiders? It's crazy. Rebel is definitely one of the best Raiders podcasters out there. I appreciate that, Sacktown Mike. That means the world to me, my brother. I've been watching NFL for 60 years, and 2 teams I hated the most in all that time were the Cowboys and Raiders. Nice, bro. Nice. See, that you didn't even have to say it, my guy Brian, but you know, just you being in here and hating the Raiders and coming in and keeping it respectable and, you know, not clowning on people says a lot. Says a lot about what people think about the channel and the character of the people in here. So I love that, man. I appreciate that. I'm softening on the Raiders now because y'all have our former OC. Hey, whatever it takes. As long as you're not, you know, liking the Raiders because we took Geno Smith or Tyler Lockett, right? Right? I'm just saying. Frank Weber in the building. Glad you could join us, my brother. 63-21. Enough said. Yes, absolutely. Broke the record. Enough said. I watch a lot of Raiders podcasters, and I've been on a few Rebel Rocks. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. That means a lot. Definitely. And I ain't just saying that. 100%, man. That shit hits right here, bro. That's why I do this. Rebel Facts ASE has had one of the worst rosters and coaching regimes to start his career compared to NFL quarterbacks in history. It is what it is. AOC definitely was not, has not had real shots. No, no. And anybody that could say he's had a real shot or his opportunities to take this team or to be the quarterback of this team doesn't know ball, bro. I'm gonna say it right now. And anybody that can say, "Oh, well, if AOC was great, they wouldn't have brought in Kirk Cousins." Come on, man. The guy hasn't played enough football to be a mentor to a guy like Mendoza, drafted number 1 overall, right? Kirk Cousins has. So whether Kirk Cousins gets on the field or not, there's a reason he's in the building. OMG, type apparently I can't spell. Probably not. You can't spell. Can we be honest with me and agree that a lot of good quarterbacks show it? Let's be real. He had Jacobs, Adams, Jacoby. Came on, man. You remember, just like me. Let's be real, fam. I like AOC. He had Adams for a couple games. It wasn't even a whole season. It was a couple games. You had him through a preseason. And you had Jacoby Myers, who ain't at number 1, and you had nobody his rookie year to take that off of him. You had Michael Mayer, who didn't even get to play until like game 6 or 7. That would be funny as hell. It could happen, right? It could happen. The Raiders' history of us making it to the Super Bowls have been from quarterbacks getting hurt and backups taking us there. So it could happen. It could happen. You never know. But I like the fact that even though people want to criticize AOC and talk all that shit, that he came out and said, nobody's going to feel sorry for me that I've had 7 offensive coordinators, right? Nobody's going to feel sorry for me that they put guys in front of me that weren't better than me and I didn't get my opportunity, whether I was better than them in camp or not. So I love that for AOC. Let's keep it real. AOC is the 3rd quarterback. I've been a Raider fan since 1981 in LA. You're tripping. I get it, though. AOC will get another chance, and we will see. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. I wish AOC would get a chance this year. How far behind am I? AOC beat the Chiefs twice. Yep, twice at home. Twice at home. Guess how many times Derek Carr beat the Chiefs at home? I'll wait. Just because we don't agree don't mean we can't be fam, right? Facts. Now see, that's what I like. That's what I like. We don't have to agree to be friends, right? You can have your opinion, I can have mine. We don't have to disagree, and we can still be family. But there's a lot of people that don't see it that way. They're like, oh, you're not jumping on my bandwagon and agreeing with my take, so you can't, we can't be friends, which is crazy. Crazy talk. I like that. He goes into depth with his discussions. I'll try not to too much. I just can't help it. I'm not trolling, but I just don't dig AOC and Lobby as the future right now. No, AOC's chance of being the future was when he was a rookie, right? Unless he's absolutely better than Mendoza, and that could, that could happen. That could happen. He might come out there and, maybe Mendoza is what a lot of people think he was, a second or a 3rd or a 4th round pick. There's a lot of people in the football community that feel like Mendoza was not a 1st overall pick. Some feel like he was not a 1st or a 2nd round pick, right? Now, if he's actually a 3rd or 4th pick, then he should not be better than Aiden O'Connell day 1, right? So that remains to be seen, man. Remains to be seen. But I know from what the kid has had around him and the players that he's had and the defense that he's had, he's done an exceptional job. And that's just my opinion. Y'all like weird and different. Thought you were Raider fans in here, except a couple. Let go for. All right, what else we got? It's cats up here acting like I'm saying your team is whack as fuck, and I love my squad. That's why I'm a realist. Cats up here acting Who's acting like that? Shit. I was liking your takes. That's why I was putting them all up. I don't know. I think I posted everything you said, but I don't know. Rebel, I think Tassie can make that next step. We can see our D line because that guy is strong as, and he needs to put it together technique wise. But if you're playing nose, right? If you're playing nose tackle, and I agree with you, Bush Raider. If you're playing nose tackle though, your technique don't have to be that great, right? You just gotta move people out of the way. And when you're that big and strong, 6'8", 374, I don't see anybody that's stopping him one on one. That means you gotta bring a guard or a you know pull a tight end or have a fullback in or have a running back in. It makes it difficult for defenses, right? And you definitely have an advantage with a guy like Lackey Tassie. So I agree. If he can, be that guy to get out there, it's going to be a difference maker. This is a scene that has a ton of questions, no real answers about them yet. That's all facts. That's all facts. Nothing has been answered. Let's look at you're not trolling. I'm thinking you might have misread the conversation and apply. You two have something else entirely. Seahawks cheddar. We argue all the time. Facts. But it's because we all want the same thing, right? Our team to win. Yeah, you don't have to dislike a player just because you don't believe he's he's gonna start or he has a chance to start. I like a lot of players on this roster that I feel like aren't even gonna be on the team when the season starts, unfortunately, and that sucks. I did think we would be in a 3-4 base that much. I don't think that's facts. There's a lot of unknown for the Raiders this season. As long as everyone keeps their expectations realistic, KK is rebuilding from scratch, basically. I don't know about scratch. I would say if Max Crosby trade went through, right, he was building from scratch. But they actually kept a lot of players in the building that have been here for a minute. Guys like Malcolm Kuntz, Trey Tucker, Michael Mayer. Yes, a lot of these guys are on young contracts, but there's some people that have been here for a while that they could have moved on from and just completely clean house. But I think they seen that a lot of these guys didn't get the opportunities that they deserve. No doubt we're all fam in this Raider mofo life. I love my squad. Appreciate it. Hope you love your squad. Raiders. All right. Oh my God, this is way too much chat. Holy shit, that's a lot. All right, I'm gonna go back up, answer some of these, and I'm gonna get out of here. Seattle has to sell, but we've got 3 bidders and no decision which ones yet. They have to sell? Why? That don't make no sense. Especially coming off a Super Bowl. I'm definitely not the only thing that has rubbed off on me. Yeah. If Lobby makes a team, it'll because of his special team skills. Facts. I think that's the key thing is we need two kick returners. And he's definitely good at tackling. He made a lot of plays for us last year. And he's just a guy that everybody wants in the building, right? He brings that, that energy, keeps everybody on their toes. All right, I've been in y'all's kitchen long enough. Got to get some sleep. Hey, I appreciate you, my brother. Great talk. You're welcome back anytime, even though you're a Seattle fan. Honestly, but appreciate you. You have a good night. My parents didn't care. It was my older sister boyfriend. He was Chino, and he always sported a silver and black. Learned about it through barbecues and parties. Nice. Give me a bit, Stacy. He takes a minute to get to the comments. Did I miss Stacy's comment? Who's Stacy? Did I skip over Stacy? I don't see it, Stacy. Oh well. Apologize. Next question. Oh man. Um, man, I hope so. I hope anybody takes us to a Super Bowl. I don't care. My dad raised me as a Raider fan, so I was born in 1963. See, that's special, man. That's special. Being able to have a dad that was a Raiders fan, that you could watch the games with your father. I would have loved that growing up, right? I'd love that now. Um, my father's dealing with some seriously bad health issues, and it'd be nice to have something to bond with. But the only thing he watches is NASCAR. So, not a Chiefs fan, but I team first and Mahomes is healthy. I don't know how they're going to become a run first team with Kenneth Walker, right? I just don't think he's that dude. I don't know, but all right, man. I appreciate every single one of y'all. I did not just know this was going to go 2 hours and 25 minutes, but I appreciate everybody that rocked with me. 14 in the building, everybody that commented, everybody that left a comment, all the super chats, all the mods in the building doing your job. Appreciate everybody. We will be back tomorrow. So y'all have a good night. I appreciate y'all being here. You could be anywhere else, but you choose to rock it with a rebel. So there's a little bit of rebel in you. Protect your mind, yourself, your body, and your family. And as always, hold a commitment to excellence to yourself and just win, baby.